Greetings friends, Jawless Paul here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate, a roguelike that's been out on several consoles already and has just been released on Steam. I had played it a lot on the Switch, dozens of hours I'd say, so I've got a decent idea of how to play the game, some tips and tricks for you. This video is going to go over about 5 different things that I'd say I think about when I'm putting together a run, or different types of builds that can be really strong in the game and what to think about. To start off, it's a very similar game to Hades in terms of how you get powered up. After each room you get potentially a power that can be either a lightning, which is Utrom, or fire, or ninja. The best thing that you could probably do to get damage is to put something on your dash. So at the start of the game you only have 1 dash, but you can unlock more, and eventually you get 3 and 4. You can get a lot of dashes in this game, and so you can dash around a lot and deal quite a bit of damage just by doing that. So that's over here that you would, or so not there, it's over here that you would unlock your dashes. The first 2 are pretty cheap, and then it gets very, very expensive to unlock dashes. Same with revives, basically death defiances. You can unlock those, but they cost 5,000 beyond your second revive. And then over here are your artifacts. You can unlock these. A couple of these you unlock very early, very easily, and then some of them are harder to unlock, like I haven't even unlocked these. The Tessin is probably your most important one. This is from defeating the boss of the docks twice, which, if it's the second boss of the game, you get out of the sewers and then you go to the docks and you fight the boss of the docks. To beat her twice, you get the Tessin, which is ninja power. So it increases your chances of getting your next power selection will be ninja, and ninja has shuriken, and shuriken can come out of your dash. This is the best way to deal damage in the game as far as I've found. It's super consistent. You're just dashing around and dealing damage with your shuriken. It does a ton. And the great thing about it, and one of the reasons that it's so good, is that there are so many different ways to buff the shuriken. You can either get chakram, which send the shuriken out and then they come back to you, which does damage both ways, or you can do the ricochet, which means when it hits an enemy it then bounces to another enemy if it's close by. This is enormous amounts of damage, and then you can get more shuriken coming out, so eventually you're dashing around and shooting out 5, 6, 7 shuriken, and they don't do that much damage each individually, but when you have that many of them, it's some of the best damage in the game, and it's super safe. So there are iframes when you're dashing. And so if you're just dashing through enemies, especially like the mouser enemies that have the lightning attacks, those are super dangerous to stand in, and your attacks and your special are all standing still, and you could take damage very easily from those. So doing a dash build is probably a great way to get your first win, and I recommend the ninja keepsake for that. Get those. And then the nice thing too is that you can, feathers in this game are kind of like palms. Feathers let you buff up a different ability. So like for ninja star dashing, or the shuriken dash, a feather will give you an additional shuriken, but there's also additional boons that you can find, or sorry, powers that you can find that give you even more shuriken. Let's say like every time you fire out a shuriken, you fire an additional one. And guess what? You can feather upgrade those to every time you shoot out a shuriken, you shoot out 2 additional shurikens. And so that's how you end up getting this enormous wave of shuriken. And then there's some interaction with your tool. If you get a tool that does that makes your shuriken poison, then all of your shuriken will be poison, or ooze I should say. Same with the other elements, so keep your eye out for tools that you can upgrade at these different spots. Okay, so then the other thing you can maybe look into is the Foot Clan medallion, which doubles your chance of getting fire or flame powers. The flame dash is also very good. It's not as good as the Tessin or the shuriken dash, but it can be a big number. And the nice thing about the flame is that there's a buff or another power that you can get within flame that makes all of your flame abilities deal inferno damage. So that's like a dot that it applies, and so that can be very good damage of both burst damage and the damage over time effect afterwards. There's lots of great builds in the game. I should also talk about this. Astral, you might find astral powers every once in a while. Astral powers can either be dark or light. And the way that they work is that once you've picked either dark or light, that's all you'll see for the rest of the run. So if you wanted to try out a light astral build, you won't see any dark astral powers. And this is important too when we start talking about duo boons, or they call them legendary boons, but really they're more like the duo boons in Hades, where you have a boon from lightning and a boon from fire, and then there's a legendary boon that comes that's like a combination of the two. There's a whole bunch of those, and I'll link all of them that I know about in the description. There's some really interesting ones that you should check out, like ones that do like Culling Strike, where enemies die at 15% health, which is great against bosses. But anyway, there's lots to explore there. Let's talk about the turtles, because everyone's got their favorite turtles, right? We've got Raphael, who's the hothead, Michelangelo, the party dude, Donatello, looks like he's building something over there, and then obviously Leonardo is being all serious and earnest over here, meditating. I'm gonna spoil this for you. Well, it's not really a spoiler, but the best turtles are by far Mikey and Raphael, and that's simply because they have fast attack speed. Mikey is maybe gets the edge over Raphael because he's got large area of effect damage with his special and his attack. So all of these attacks deal huge amounts of damage around you. Not only that, but he's got mastery abilities, which make the area of attack even larger. And he's got what's called multi-hit. So attack area size, attack damage. Multi-hit is when you have a chance to hit twice. So as you can imagine, it's kind of like a crit, right? Like it's you're hitting twice with that. And so if you have effects that happen when you hit multiple times, then it does more damage. So for your first win, the best turtles are probably Michelangelo, followed by Raphael, then Leonardo, and then Donatello. Donatello is fine. I like Donatello as a character and as a turtle, just generally. But the attack speed is so slow. It really makes a huge difference. Like it does more damage. But attack speed is so important in this game, from what I've found. Now, if you're going for a shuriken dash build, obviously, none of this matters. Just pick any that you want, and they'll work just fine. So, a couple more things I wanted to talk about. This is something that I didn't know about. I'd played the game for probably 10 hours before someone told me that I was playing on easy difficulty, and you probably are too if you have the game. So, if you don't know, there are two difficulty settings, and the default, the one that you get placed into automatically, is easy difficulty. So you can switch that to normal if you want to be, hardcore. The game is by no means easy on easy difficulty. In fact, I don't even know what it does, to be honest with you. I haven't really noticed a huge difference. When I switched to normal difficulty, I was still winning at the same rate that I was on easy difficulty, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that. But there's other ways to increase the difficulty too, especially, once you've beaten the game one time, or beaten the final boss one time, you're able to take portals at the beginning of each zone, and the portals add an effect. So let me I'll just jump into a run real quick just to show you what I'm talking about. Okay. Oh, look at that. This is what I'm talking about. Throw a shuriken forward at the start of your dash.
To become a better
and now you got
I offer you a portal of power.
So you take these portals, and what they'll do is you'll have more dragon and dreamer coins, but enemies have increased damage and health. And then there's also additional possible rewards for each one that you take. They get more, they're randomized, except for at the start of each biome, it's a portal of power and then a portal of greater power, basically just increasing all enemy health and damage. You can also find other ones, like ones that make all Mousers explode, or a portal that makes the shop cost twice as much, or maybe the worst one or the most annoying one to find is one that makes your boons, you get half as many powers to choose from. So when you open a power, one of the packs at the end of a room, you have fewer powers to choose from, which is awful. And it's especially awful when you are trying to get legendary powers, because they require very specific other powers in order to show up. But you can take portals, and as soon as you stop taking portals, so if I take this one, I don't know what's going on. Okay, there we go. If I take this one, that's great. I beat whatever enemies are in this room.
What's not to like?
So if I chose not to take the portal of protection, where enemy health is fully converted to shielding, this is a kind of an annoying one too, although it's certainly fine. It just makes it so enemies don't get staggered by your attacks. If I skip one, I'll never see another portal. And so my increased dragon and dreamer coins will be limited. The increase will be limited to just for the portals that I took. So you no longer get a chance to have increased portals. Okay, then also at the different areas, you have gauntlet challenges. These are for the mini boss that happens in the middle, halfway through the biome, and the bosses at the end. You can take the gauntlet challenge, which greatly increases the difficulty of the boss fight. In fact, it's actually very painful sometimes. And I think this is something that it looks tempting, but until you have really invested a lot into unlocking more powers in the dreamer coin bench and in the dragon coin bench, it's going to be really tough to fight those battles. I would just try to get a few wins under your belt, unlock some of the other stuff, and then it'll be better. But one interesting thing about the game too is that when you are using your special and your tool, they go on cooldown, and the way that they reset from cooldown is your attacks. So your attacks are what will then unlock your special and tool again. And what this means, I mean, this is why attack speed is so nice, because they have to be hits against enemies. They can't just be swiping into the air. Like, as you can see, it's not unlocking my special or tool. The other turtles, like Raphael and Michelangelo, have fast attacks, and so it allows you to get your tool and special back faster. Now they do recharge at different rates, like based on the attack speed, but I still find that the faster attack speed is going to be better. I think I've talked about everything I wanted to. It's kind of some points for you. Hopefully this is helpful and you'll find a way to get through the game. I really enjoyed this game. I'd say overall my impression is very positive. It feels very light compared to a game like Hades or I don't know, the other games that have been coming out recently that have very complex systems and very complex gameplay and lots of different things going on. This game seems a bit more arcadey and simple, but that's okay. I kind of like that too. But that's something to keep in mind if you're on the fence about buying the game. I would say it's really great in a lot of ways. The combat and the fighting is fun. It's an action roguelike. It's got some difficulty, but not crazy difficulty. And also, the best way to get your first wins is definitely to go with friends. So you can for the PC, you can go online, you can connect with people via online matchmaking system, or you can get a friend code or like a game code, and then you give that out to your friends and they can join you. There's a lot of ways to do that, but even with just two people, it's so nice because if you die in a room, your friend, so long as they survive till the end and all the enemies are dead, you'll come back to life with a quarter of your health, and then you can fight again in the next room. So you can kind of go back and forth that way. And if one of you has kind of a weaker build or something, or I don't know, you can still survive. And that's probably the easiest way to get to the end. In fact, it makes the game kind of too easy. I would say it's too easy when you have a friend playing along with you. It just feels like a completely different game. And that's the true difficulty setting. So I feel like I'm selecting normal, but it doesn't tell me what mode I'm on. I just have to assume that I'm on normal difficulty. That's okay. But anyway, friends, I hope that was helpful. Hope you're enjoying the game. Let me know in the comments below if you have tips or tricks that you want to share with people. I've heard a lot from different people in the community and on my channel and comments to my videos with ideas and stuff. So leave a comment below if you like that, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.